Alright, I'm back again to finish up the week 4 predictions for the rest of the games. We did the Thursday night game and I went with the Bengals and that was correct. Um, my record was not good last week. I went 6 out of the 16 games, so I was 6-10 for my picks. Not a good week, which makes me 24-24 on the season, meaning I'm 500 right now. So I'm looking for the bounce back this week. And speaking about bouncing back, the first game we got the Colts and the Jaguars. Jaguars at home against the Colts. Um, Colts coming off of a victory, and both of these teams are really unpredictable. I think the Jaguars are more unpredictable because they actually have talent on offense, but Blake Bortles is really struggling. He's not playing well. They haven't really established the run game that I thought they had started to establish a year ago with T.J. Yeldon, and they also had Denard Robinson. But this year, their offense is really not playing well. They have Allen Robinson at receiver, Allen Hurns, which is a deep threat, and they just can't seem to get it together. Blake Bortles is making all kinds of bad decisions, and their defense also is not playing up to par. So they're still trying to find themselves. They're still trying to get their feet from under them, the Jaguars. But they are at home, and this is a division game, so anything can happen. The Colts, on the other hand, who continue to struggle on defense, but really Andrew Luck's play has been sporadic at times. His line still can't seem to protect him long enough. Sometimes he holds on the ball too long. Um, their run game still is non-existent, even though they have Frank Gore. But I think that it's better than what it was the last few years, but it's still not there yet. So long story short, I think the Colts will be able to move the ball on the Jaguars, and um, I'm going with the Colts on the road to get this division win. It's a big game for them. I think it'll be a shootout between the two teams, but I'm going to go with the Colts. Next game is the Titans and Texans, so we're staying in the same division, and this game is going to be interesting as well. On one side, you got the Titans on the road coming to Houston. Um, they've got DeMarco Murray. They really want to establish the run game. They drafted um, Derrick Henry, and Marcus Mariota is coming back, having his sophomore year. Their offense can move the ball, but sometimes they've been inconsistent in getting into the end zone. They've moved it. They can move the ball well, but they need to finish drives a lot better. Their defense is still a work in progress for them, and they give up more points than they should. You know, they still have not really um, come together as a defense with the Titans. On the other side, the home team, the Texans, you got Brock Osweiler. On paper, they look pretty good on defense. I mean, on offense, but they got shell shocked last week against the Patriots, and it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back from that because I think they thought they were a better team than that to come out and compete with the Patriots, even without Brady, and they got shell shocked. And they don't have um, J.J. Watt on defense, so that might hurt them in the run game as well as the pass game. So I think Osweiler will come back and bounce back, and this one will be a shootout in my opinion as well. But I'm gonna go with the Titans because I think the Titans, if they capture a lead, they'll be able to run the ball on the Texans and be able to close the show. So we'll see what happens there, but I'm going with the Titans. Um, the Browns and the Redskins. The Redskins coming off a big division win against the Giants with all the Josh Norman and Odell Beckham talk. But the the Redskins, they have a very poor defense. They can't stop the run. Have not accomplished stopping the run yet. Now the Giants don't have a run game, so last week it wasn't exposed as much. Um, but their run defense on the Redskins is not great. Their front seven is not that great. I thought they were better last year on the line. Their secondary with Josh Norman is a little bit better, but it's only Josh Norman. And now Breeland is out, which was a weak link. But also, people were piling up on Breeland. But I also think D'Angelo Hall's play as safety has been terrible as well this season. But he's also out. So it's going to be interesting to see how that secondary plays now. And I think they're weaker on defense now when you lose those guys, even though they were being beat. I mean, we'll see if the backups can step up and come in and play. Um, uh, the quarterback, um, you know, the quarterback play with Captain Kirk Cousins. He's been up and down, and he looks shaky. He doesn't look as confident as he did last year, but he can still play, and we'll see. Um, I think he'll be able to move the ball, but if he starts turning the ball over, the Redskins are going to be in big trouble. Um, the Browns, it's like a hard team to judge. The Browns are the whipping boy of the league. It seems like all the time, and now you know their quarterback situation is strange. They've got Terrell Pryor last week playing quarterback, playing wide receiver. He had a running touchdown from the quarterback position. So we'll see what they do. But Terrell Pryor is a dynamic player and has proven that. So let's see how the Redskins can play against him. Will they put Josh Norman on him to follow him? They haven't been doing that much this year. They did it a little bit last week with Norman and a little bit at the end of the Cowboys game with Dez. But we'll see. I'm going with the Browns. I think the Browns are going to pull off a big win against the Redskins. We got the Seahawks and the Jets. Um, the Seahawks, without Russell Wilson, they're still a strong defense. They're still a solid team all around. The Jets took a bad beating last week, and I think they'll bounce back this week against Seattle. Um, they have the talent. Ryan Fitzpatrick will bounce back. He, he usually doesn't pile up back-to-back games where he plays poorly. So I expect him to come back and play well, and I think it'll be well enough, and they'll beat the Seahawks. This is the same Seahawks team that lost to the Rams a couple weeks ago, 9-6. So it's not a guaranteed win for the Seahawks, and they're on the road traveling to the East Coast. I'm going with the Jets in this game. Um, the Bills versus the undefeated Patriots. This game is a tough one. The Bills are playing a lot better than what people are giving them credit for right now, and it would not shock me that they'll give the Patriots their first loss. Um, Tyrod Taylor, his play has been sporadic, but he's always dangerous because he has the ability to run and he has the ability to pass, and that makes him a threat. So Belichick is known for taking away the strength of the other team. So we'll see how they do the Bills there. You got LaShawn McCoy. The Bills have talent. Sammy Watkins won't be playing. He's not out there. But the Bills have a good team. Their defense is playing really well, in my opinion. They, you know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there with the Bills. The Patriots still without Tom Brady. This is the last game without him. Um, they're at home. I believe Jacoby Brissett is still getting the start, and I think Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots will be able to pull this game out. For some reason, in big games like this, Rex Ryan, I don't know, when you think that, hey, they're about to get over the hump, they don't. So I'm going with the Patriots. I need to get back to a better record on my picks, so I'm sticking with the Patriots. But something in me wants to pick the Bills, but I'm going with the Patriots. Panthers, Falcons. Panthers took a beating from the Vikings last week. They only scored 10 points. I can't see Cam Newton and them doing that again. This is a division game, so it'll be closer than what people think, and it's in the dome with the Falcons. Um, Matt Ryan, they got their victory against the Saints. The Saints defense is horrible. The Panthers defense is way better than the Saints. So I don't see the Falcons putting up the points that they did against the Saints on the Panthers. Um, the Falcons' defense is still not the greatest. The Saints were able to move the ball well on them, um, but I'm gonna go with the Panthers to get the victory on the road in the dome against the Falcons, and bounce back. The Raiders and the Ravens. The Ravens are undefeated. They're at home, but I think this is a setup game for the Ravens. Don't think the Ravens are as good as their record shows. The Flacco, he's a Super Bowl champion quarterback, but he doesn't always play like a Super Bowl champion quarterback. Sometimes he falls back into mistakes. Um, but the Ravens are a resilient team. Their defense is not bad. Um, their running game is not as good as it used to be, but it's getting better. Um, the Raiders, though, on the other hand, I like Derek Carr. I like what's the receiver, Amari Cooper, as well as you got Crabtree. I think the Raiders will come in there and shock the Ravens in Baltimore and give them their first loss of the season. The Raiders, they'll be able to establish the run, I think, a little bit, which will help and open up the pass with some play action. Um, and I think their defense, they play well enough to really compete with that Ravens offense. And not saying the Ravens won't be able to move the ball, but I think the Raiders will be able to come up with some plays on defense that should put them over the top. Then you got the Lions and the Bears, a division game, and the Bears at home. I mean, they're home, away, it doesn't matter. They're struggling. They've got so many injuries. I think if their defense is healthy, they're a lot better than what people will give them credit for. But the problem is the offense. They can't move the ball. All they have is Alshon Jeffrey, and he's not an intermediate receiver. He's a deep threat, and that's not good for your number one receiver to be a deep threat. Alshon Jeffries in past years, he had better receivers on the other side of him, like a Brandon Marshall, who is an intermediate receiver. So I just see the Lions winning this game. I think the Lions will be able to score on them. The Bears will come out fighting early. You know, they'll come out and play, but if the Lions get up on them, it's going to be a long day for them. Broncos, Buccaneers. I got the Broncos beating the Buccaneers in this game, but it will be a shootout. Um, Jameis Winston is game. He still makes mistakes. He's still young in his second season, and he'll move the ball. They'll be able to move the ball, but this Broncos defense is legit, defending Super Bowl champions. So I can see them causing some turnovers with Winston, putting them in some bad positions, and I think they'll stop the run as well. So that will put them over the top. They won't need to score a bunch of points, but I think they'll be able to move the ball. Simeon has not done that bad at quarterback, and I think the Broncos will be able to run the ball on the Buccaneers due to time of possession and the wearing down of the Buccaneers defense. And especially if Winston can't play a perfect game, he will throw, he will give the ball up and throw a couple turnovers. But then he'll also throw a couple touchdowns as well. Um, the Rams and the Cardinals. This one is a tricky game. Another division game, and the Rams, you don't want to pick them, but the Rams have a sneaky way of winning their division games and then losing out of division games. They play a lot better within their division. And Todd Gurley still has not had the game that we expect from him, because most teams are loading the box on him because the quarterback play for the Rams is not good. But Case Keenum is starting to pick up a little bit, and if he can continue that progress, it'll really help Gurley, free him to be able to dominate in the run game like we know he can. But the Cardinals defense is no joke. They're going to come out and they're going to try to stop the run and make Case Keenum beat them. And they're at home. Um, Carson Palmer, the quarterback, they have a veteran team. They have a team that should be a contender to go to the playoffs and contend this year. The Cardinals do. And so in this game, it's a tough pick, but I'm gonna go with the Rams getting the upset because, like I said, they play really well in their division, and I think they have a very good defense. I like the Aaron Donald. Their front line is as good as anybody in the league on defense. So if they can just get Case Keenum to manage the game, not make any turnovers, they could pull off the upset here with Arizona. The Saints and the Chargers. I spoke about the Saints earlier when I was talking about the Falcons Panthers game. I don't like the Saints defense. They can't stop anything. The Chargers are really pass heavy, and now they're starting to develop a run game with Melvin Gordon. Um, it's the return of Drew Brees to San Diego. So I know Brees will be coming out there to win that game, regardless of what they say during the week. Brees wants to win this game because it's the team that gave up on him for Philip Rivers, and Philip Rivers is still a quarterback in San Diego. And Philip Rivers is a competitive guy, so he definitely wants to win this game. Um, but I'm gonna go with the Chargers in this game to beat the Saints at home. I think their run game, they'll be able to establish the run with Melvin Gordon, and I believe Philip Rivers will be throwing all over the place. Now Drew Brees will probably have some big stats because he's gonna have to throw to win this game to stay in this game because I think they're gonna fall behind. The Chargers defense is not the greatest either, but I think they're better than the Saints defense, and I think Breeze will be able to move the ball on them, but I think the Chargers will be able to do just enough, get a few stops to win this game. The Cowboys and the 49ers, this is a tough game, tougher game on on the field than it will be on paper. Looking going into it, you would think the Cowboys they just walked all over the Bears last week. Will just walk over the 49ers and Chip Kelly. And speaking of Chip Kelly, they're familiar with Chip Kelly because he was with the Eagles um, the last few years, and so they know each other as far as system wise. But this is the 49ers, it's not the Eagles, and the 49ers, their player quarterback Blaine Gabbert is suspect. Um, their best player on offense, I would say, is Carlos Hyde. The thing that could really help them is this defense. If they can somehow come up with a scheme to rattle Dak Prescott, the rookie, and slow down Ezekiel Elliott, and I don't think Des Bryant is playing in this game due to the knee injury. Um, so the 49ers, they have a good chance to pull off an upset against the Cowboys, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys because I think that the Cowboys, with the time of possession, can wear down the 49ers defense. They can score. I mean, the Cowboys have moved the ball on everybody so far, even in the loss to the Giants in Week 1. They haven't had a problem moving the ball on anybody. So I think they'll be able to move the ball on the 49ers. Maybe not early on, but eventually they'll wear them down because I don't think the 49ers offense will be able to do much against the Cowboys defense. If the Cowboys defense stays disciplined, they play that gap scheme. If they can play their gaps, they should be able to stop Carlos Hyde, stop the run, and if they can stop the run, they will beat the 49ers. The Chiefs and the Steelers, wow, the Steelers took a bad loss last week to the Eagles, shocked everybody, and now they get the Chiefs to come in, and the Chiefs are no pushovers either. But I just can't see the Steelers losing like they did again. I think they'll bounce back. The Chiefs are a tough team, though. Alex Smith is a very good quarterback, underrated quarterback, in my opinion. They've got Jeremy Maclin. I'm not sure if um, the running back is coming back this week, but it doesn't matter because they have Ware. They they've had success running the ball. Alex Smith is managing the game as he always does, and he's actually starting to get the ball to his receivers. We got Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown on the other side. I'm not sure if Le'Veon Bell is coming back. I think he will be playing in this game, which is a big boost for that Steelers offense. The defense is going to have to stop the run against the Chiefs, though. and get back to playing how they played the first few weeks, and just throw that game away that they did with the Eagles last week, because they couldn't stop anything and they couldn't get into the end zone. They couldn't score. They moved the ball on the Eagles, but they couldn't score. Uh, so I don't know if Jamal Charles, like I said, is coming back for the Chiefs. I don't think he is this week. So I'm gonna go with the Steelers at home. The last game, the Monday night game, the Giants versus the Vikings. This is another trap game, in my opinion, for the Vikings. They're undefeated. Giants coming off of a division loss to the Redskins. The Vikings defense is legit. It might even be the best defense in the league, um, other than the Broncos. And um, their offense is played a lot better than we expected. So the Giants went out and spent a lot of money on the defensive line, and they're gonna have to show out in this game. They're gonna have to pressure um, Sam Bradford. They should have some familiarity with Sam Bradford because Sam Bradford was the Eagles quarterback last year. And so they should be familiar with him. They have enough film on Sam Bradford to know his tendencies, his weaknesses, and his strengths. They should be able to pressure Sam Bradford or get some pressure is what they want to do. If they can't, they're going to have a rough day. But if they can pressure and get in his face, maybe cause a few turnovers, get a lot of defensive stops, and somehow be able to move the ball on this Vikings defense, which is not an easy task. Get some big shots to Odell and some of their top receivers, Cruz and the rookie. Um, we'll see. I think the Giants will pull off the upset on Monday Night Football against the Vikings. It'll be a good game though. I think it'll be a defensive struggle, and I'm gonna go with Eli Manning over Sam Bradford. Eli's clutch when it comes down to the end of the game. So those are my picks for week 4. Um, Leave your comments and let me know what y'all think.